someone else's forgotten stuff, and you know, with a good parts list, and that's how I can get into rigs, you know.
Okay, Motorsports. It's Mr. Andrew Bailey's and Brent Rockwood's shop here in Ashland City, just how about north of Nashville?
Yep, we're an hour northwest of Nashville.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about it. What do you guys do?
Custom fabrication. We mainly work on Jeeps, a lot of 1-ton swaps, V8 engine swaps, beef up axles, lots and lots of custom suspension stuff.
So was your rig built here?
It's kind of a tricky question. No, my rig was built in Cortez, Colorado by Jimmy's 4x4.
But rebuilt here.
Rebuilt here.
And your last couple of rigs were
yeah,
built
yeah.
here.
I mean, I've got photos of
Gumby was pulled.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
Gumby, yeah.
Old Reader's rig. We
yeah,
I literally cut it right off on this thing. It's been a couple months tying up this lift and driving Brent crazy, and I literally completely stripped that Jeep down and rebuilt it here. We've done a bunch. Brent's Jeep's pretty much been built here as well.
Yeah. So your Jeep was built entirely here?
No, I got it. It came out of Detroit, Michigan, kinda as it is, but not. And
I remember seeing photos of just like a yellow chassis. Was
yes, this is it.
Okay.
Just like the original Jeep that started all this was Hooker Money. It was a red YJ. I buy a lot of unfinished or neglected or just forgotten rigs that have decent parts, and you can just generally pick them up cheap. You know, they're not together, they don't run right, don't work right, and we just modify them and make them work for us. You know, go through and redo them. Because I love doing all the custom fab. You know, like, all the custom cages, custom bumpers, all that is just me in here at night just tinkering, figuring out how it works. And you know, it just turned into this. That ugly yellow Jeep that I traded a chassis for, that everyone's like, oh, you're insane, what do you need this thing for? Turned out to be one of, you know, probably one of the nicest rigs here in the Southeast. Which is Call Girl. You know, it's painted in house. You know, all the axles, you know, it's LS powered, all, you know, everything is us here in the shop.
We redid the rear suspension on the whole thing, getting ready to redo the front axle, which is great. Yeah, there's, you know, these projects are, it's better to buy a project that someone started usually.
Just for parts. I mean,
always, but yeah, it saves the parts, and usually the labor thing, we don't want to go back over anybody's labor, but it happens, and so, you know, getting the parts list is always handy. I mean, you can, you know, buy a rig for 10, 15,000 bucks or even less, and, you know, make it your own rig, and suddenly with your labor and a few extra parts of your choosing, you've now got a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 rig. So.
Exactly, and that's like, I mean, that's kind of the signature on this thing, right?
I always call it a budget build, and obviously there's no labor in it per se. You know, I mean, we have our time in it, but we didn't pay any labor. There's less than $13,000 in this rig.
That was great, dude. Oh my God, that was awesome.
300M RCVs front and back, 40 spine in the back, LS powered, 42-inch reds, custom cage, PRP seats, everything autometer, rugged radios. I mean, everything as you see this, there's less than 13 grand out of my pocket
new Fox
in this
coilovers.
rig. Brand new Fox coilovers in the front.
The rear is going to come soon, so.
Yep, you know, I mean, a 2.5-inch, you know, that was including, you know, this is a custom 40 spine. This is the first 40 spine spindled axle from Wide Open Design. This is it. Custom width.
Custom with their parts. They've been building 40 splines for years, but they actually developed and designed and built their own 40 spline spindle. And they were like, we don't know if this thing's going to be great or not great, but we have a wonderful relationship with those guys. And they were like, hey, you won't burn us to the ground if, you know, do a little R&D with us. And it's held up great. I mean, honestly, you can ask Brent. He's beat the crap out of it and done really well. So
I buy someone else's forgotten stuff, and you know, with a good parts list, and that's how I can get into rigs. You know.
Yeah, your first red Jeep was the same
first
way.
red Jeep. I mean, Gumby, when you bought it, was the same way. You know, you bought something with decent parts that just needed the ugly beat off it, and you know, a lot of time people try to build them in their garage and the suspensions don't work, or there's problems with them. So you can just, you know, like you said, well, you know, I give Scott Grubb, you know, a hard time. He's got more money in the front axle than this entire rig does.
Gummy, by the way, is Steven Reeder's rig now. So if you go to the video, Hot and Ready Little Caesars is no joke what's called. That rig that completely dominated that trail, that is Steven
with
Reeder's.
like a super green driver, and he just listened, you know, like, hey, Andrew, I trust you. Is this okay? I'm like, yeah, hit it.
So one more question. So this is not just your personal shop where you build your own stuff and work on my shit and whatnot. You actually, like, people can come to you, get a custom roll cage, get custom suspension, whatever. Like,
yes, yeah, we do it. I mean, you can see out in the back, we got HP tuners, big Hemi Jeep. We got another 4-door on tons that's getting ready to get finished. We did the cage and Scott Dinger's. We built Winona, which used to be Matt Loxley's Jeep.
Oh yeah,
we helped do a lot of work on Dumpy.
Yeah. We've turned on a bunch of really custom rock crawler long arms.
Louis belts, full ORI stretch,
crazy.
120 inch.
Yeah. We've done a bunch of
JK.
bunch of 2-door stretches. We've done all the
Mr. Keys, which had the
white JK. Right?
That was Louis belts, the white JK with the custom 40 spines front and back, Jana 76. I mean, all the tricks.
So how can people get a hold of you? Just Facebook?
Yep. We're on Facebook. Send the page a message. Andrew usually deals with all the requests in there, and we were doing a lot more JK, like re-gears and stuff like that. We've kind of slowed down because he's with HP Tuners so busy, you know, and I run a day job and work out here, and we were working 100 hours a week, so we're kind of slowing down and going back to what we want to do is just big, wild,
custom builds.
Yeah, custom builds.
Yep.
How long have you been doing all this? Like, how long since when does Hooker Motorsports exist?
It started about 6 years ago. It started with my buddy Lance and I. We were down here working on our own stuff, and a lot of people just liked what we were doing, building. So, you know, we started just to make a little bit of extra money and, you know, help fund our own disease.
Right.
So it started, you know, working for, you know, just doing custom fab, you know, custom welding, you know, gear setups, etc. And we got talking down here. At the time, it didn't even have a name, and the name is kind of funny. It goes back to the 2.5 Men when Charlie's broke and he's in bed with the hooker, and Alan goes, "Charlie, you ain't got no money." He goes, "Oh," and she looks at him and she goes, "Oh, you broke?" He goes, "Oh no, baby, I always got hooker money." You know, it's kind of like the Jeep world. I will eat ramen noodles and hot dogs for 3 weeks to get my Jeep put back together. So that is kind of where it just turned into Hooker Motorsports. And, you know, I've had, you know, Dirty Hooker, we've had Hooker Money, we've had Stripper Glitter, we got Call Girl, and I just picked up an LS truck, which is Basic Bitch. So I kind of keep all my stuff themed around that.
I love that, man.
You know, it's a little tacky, but people like it. You know, the name grabs attention. So, you know, that's just what it is.
It fits.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Very, very cool. I just pulled the Jeepster in and limped it into the shop. And now we want to connect it to the HP Tuner software and kind of figure out what the reason is why the Jeepster's in limp mode. Now I'm going to have Andrew explain a little more about that.
So I just connected the vehicle. I've loaded up our VCM scanner.
What is it called? What is the software called?
VCM scanner.
Okay.
So we have two softwares. There's VCM editor, which you write to, and then there's VCM scanner, which will do data logging, check engine codes, clear DTCs, things of that nature. So we're actually checking this out now and gonna see what's going on. So I can put this up here for you guys. You're gonna connect to your vehicle.
So is it okay? But can we now only see what's going on with the engine, or also if it's a transmission issue? Because a bunch of people on the internet said it's probably not the engine but the transmission that's actually throwing it in limp mode.
We should be able to check the engine and the trans here. So
Okay.
I say that loosely because you have a custom wiring harness in your Jeepster, and so
Oh yeah, hot wire harness.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a
so-
aftermarket harness.
fingers crossed we can see all that. So just like everybody said, as you can see here, I don't know, can you get in and zoom into that? Transmission control system, you're getting a P0700, and then you're getting a P0888, which is your TCM power relay sense circuit. So we've got a couple of things we can check.
So this transmission, they're throwing it in limp mode.
Correct, on both. There is no other DTCs at all.
What do we do to fix that now? Like how?
Well, we will put it on the lift, go in there, check the wiring, see
Okay.
where we're kind of at, and if there's a problem there. If this relay, which I need to do some research on because I don't know a lot about this
Yeah.
trans, I think this is a 545, isn't it?
545 RFE.
I'm not sure if it has its own separate relay, so it could be a problem with the relay, because I know you've had this issue before in the past.
At
in
the very,
limited
very
capacity.
beginning, yeah.
Yep,
But usually, so when we first finished the Jeepster, we were out in Moab, and I had a similar issue. But back then, when I turned the cutoff switch on or off and killed the power on the vehicle, I was fine after that. It may have occurred one more time after that, but again, I cutoff switch on and off, gave it a few seconds, and it was good to go again. This time, not so much. This time I get about 4 or 5 seconds worth of throttle, and then it's dead again, and it does it over and over and over again. So it's really not happy. See, like, totally fine when it's...
Well, we've cleared the DTC, so I'm going to see if it throws the code again. It goes in a limp mode, or yeah, see, you're getting another transcode still. Let me see if I can rev it again. But I'll show you something cool about the software as well, just while we're looking at things. So here's everything that's going on with your gauges. So you have gauges, and you can actually see all your parameters will actually change as I hit the gas. So anyway, it's a cool piece of software. I like it. So
Awesome.
We'll go from there and see what we got, man.
Yeah, so I don't know if I said that before or not, but the deal is when the transmission is in park or in neutral, everything is fine. You hear it, you can throttle it up, rev it up, no problem. As soon as you put it in gear, no throttle. So that's the issue that we're trying to fix here, amongst other things. Did you see the drive shaft? One piece is there, the other piece is...
When you were pulling it off the trailer, I seen something. I'm like, what's that shiny hanging out from underneath it? Yeah, it's the other half of the drive shaft still hanging out the front of it.
Yeah, exactly. So
Sound like it broke.
Front drive shaft. Front drive shaft.
What happened?
drive shaft, man.
Front drive shaft.
Pretty bad too. It's like wedged in there. I broke here. And yeah, and then it's wedged in the mound, so I have to take it off. I can't drive it. It's gonna smash my transfer case in half. Yeah.
They're all back again.
Yeah.
Yeah, both. Something's happened in the wiring harness or something. Sensor. You know, the fact that you've had this issue a couple of times now, you know, could be anything. Could be a bad ground. I mean, it could be or loose ground, or...
Which that makes it really interesting. Like, if it literally can be anything, that means like it can be anything. So.
Yeah, something could have came loose. I mean, you know.
Like, yeah, somebody said on Facebook, so it's like, yeah, it can be as easy as a loose ground wire for your headlights or some bullshit. Like, literally, like...
Greg said that, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think all of that on this vehicle is probably not accurate. So I hope not, but we'll see.
got an LS sitting around.
Make it happen.
Make that happen, buddy. Don't threaten us with a good time. So yes, we can do that. That can be done as well.
So after pulling the front diff cover off, Brent and his guys realized that the reason for all this was actually that my front locker grenaded, which caused the ring and pinion to break, and that locked up the front end, and that caused the drive shaft to fail. So that is the whole story to that. We have parts coming. The Jeeps should be back up and running in a few days. The transmission issue was actually just a bad relay, so thanks to HP Tuners for making this awesome software that definitely helped us to figure this out a whole lot quicker. So yeah, everything's been taken care of. The Jeeps should be back up and running in a few days. Shout out to Hooker Motorsports for making all this happen. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I see you next time.